Super Rugby round number 2, Crusaders hosting the Brumbies, and I don't know that anybody would have picked that scoreline. 50 points to 24. The Brumbies have come to New Zealand and given the Crusaders a big old paddling. Goodness gracious me. Like, the Crusaders don't usually drop games at home. Brumbies, they said, hadn't won there down in Christchurch in 26 years, I think they said. Unbelievable, not just to win, but 50 points to 24. 26-point win. Goodness me. Quite a result for the Brumbies, and in James Slipper's 200th Super Rugby cap. So what a big old result for them. Back to the drawing board for the Crusaders. None from 2 to start the season for the reigning champs is somewhat unexpected. Is it a bit of a hangover from last year? It's uncharacteristic. I know my Blues the year before, they won it, and then the next year looked a bit average, but I'm not sure what the deal is with the Crusaders at the moment. They started under a heap of pressure. The Brumbies, they didn't get the score, but they had the wind at their backs, and they put the territory pressure on the Crusaders. That being said, the Crusaders got the first score through Havili, and it just felt like the same old story. Crusaders defend, one shot, one try. 7 points to nil Crusaders despite the wind, although the Brumbies did bounce back about 10 minutes later with their first try. Muirhead got it. So many phases, and he went past Newell. I mean, it was a bit of a mismatch, and the Brumbies had worked to generate that mismatch, so the pressure pays. 7 points apiece, and I looked up the territory stats at that point of the game. It was 89 to 11. The Crusaders were literally just into the wind. Not quite literally an uphill battle, but you know what I mean. It was bonkers stuff. But that being said, the Crusaders concede. Perfect reply. This is what you expect from the reigning champions. Again, no territory, no possession, but they score. Kemara, dink over the top for Fihaki. Gets the line break. He gets tackled, but pops it up. George Bell, the hooker with the support line. Great try from the Crusaders. 14 points to 7. It just looks like one of those days at the office, man. You can dominate them, you can pressurize them, but the Crusaders are going to come back and score. As I said, 14-7, but the tit-for-tat kind of continued, and Slipper, in his 200th, got a try. Who had money on that? He probably made a pretty penny on slips to score a try. Muirhead again with the half gap. He was quite the creative force for the Brumbies in this one. Neville, the big lock, went close, and then Slipper, next phase, it started, to be fair, from the Crusaders' line-out not being straight, and their line-out was atrocious in this game. I know it's windy, but the Brumbies line-out was a lot better. So error immediately punished. It's 14 points apiece. Crusaders got a yellow card warning for conceding too many penalties on defence. The Brumbies decide, hey, let's go for the jugular, which I like. If you've got the dominance, why not? Instead of just opting for the 3 and kind of releasing the pressure valve, go for the corner. Hindsight, obviously, is easier to say that. If you muck up the line out, it looks like a stupid one, not take the points. But they went for the jugular. I like the intent. They probably should have scored. But I think it was Lonergan who went just a bit short. And then Shalfoon was offside though, so they gave him a yellow card. 15 against 14. They opt for scrum, the Brumbies. The scrum's under a bit of pressure, but Kale, who had a great game last week, has a bloody good guy in this one as well because he gets 2 tries off the back of a scrum, which is kind of starting to creak. Despite the man advantage in terms of forwards, he powers over. He ran at Hotham, so it's a bit of a mismatch. And Fihaki, I think it was. He's a big unit. Oh, Charlie Cowell. So 19 points to 14 with the misconversion. The Brumbies have a 5-point lead. They probably could have had one more, attacking from their own 22 when it looked like they were shaping to kick, but they dropped. I think it was Meredith. Couldn't quite convert on the line break. So I felt like with the wind advantage the Brumbies have had, and having had 85% territory, there's no way a 5-point lead is going to be enough coming into the second half against the Crusaders. Because surely the Crusaders will have at least a similar amount, if not quite 85%, but second half they'll have 60-70% of the territory. So the Brumbies, 5 points is not going to be enough to hold on, but dead wrong. Penalty count was 7-0 at halftime. Against the Crusaders, they had been copping it. But interestingly, line breaks was 5-4. So they'd actually had those kind of X-factor moments, but with bugger all territory. They did have 43% possession. Second half starts. the Crusaders do start getting some territory. And as I said, it felt like that familiar story. Neville got a yellow card, but there's probably a few too many errors from the Crusaders when they were looking to punish. And then despite the yellow card, the Brumbies get themselves on the board, very similar to what the Crusaders did to them on the first half. Instead of the Kimara dink over the top, it's Meredith with the dink over and Pritchard. The new man, I haven't seen much of him, but he's in the midfield because obviously Ikitau's off in Europe at the moment. So, yeah, he gathers with the wicked bounce of the ball, and it is try time for the Brumbies. You can even see James Slipper crack a wee smile. Maybe he's starting to believe at 24 points to 14. But you feel like that fires up the Crusaders' attack because despite all those errors they'd made earlier, like, have we just conceded, they make it click. Like, multiple times I was just, maybe I'm just lost to the Crusaders so many times as a Blues fan. I was just expecting the black and red comeback to wash over the Brumbies. They fired up, line-out play, quick hands, particularly Fainganuku, who had a great impact from the bench. Quick tip ball to Jordan, then to Reese in the corner. 19 points for the Crusaders to 24, but the Tri-Fest just went on. Like, if you went to this game as a Crusaders fan, even though you lost, you'd have to be entertained with some of the tries you saw being scored. Crusaders, not the ones to kind of get the quickfire double. It's scrappy ball from the Brumbies. Edmed, he gets it to Sapsford out on the left wing. And then that man, Charlie Cale, gets his second. Plus, there's a high shot on Muirhead called up by the TMO in the build-up by Dom Gardner. So it's a yellow card for the Crusaders and a try to the Brumbies. 31-19. At this point, I'm actually thinking the Brumbies might actually win this. But despite the yellow card, the Crusaders still play some bloody good rugby. They camp themselves into the Brumbies 22. Eventually, after a couple of missed chances out wide, you see Leicester power over for a try. 31-24. Again, 31-24. 67 minutes. That's still time for the Crusaders to come back. That's Crusaders game-winning, season-defining, championship-winning. That's their bread and butter. But that's their final scoring. It's the Brumbies who finish the stronger team towards the end of the game. Every time the Crusaders concede a penalty in the final 10, it seems like the Brumbies just punish them. It's red zone pressure. Penalty conceded, go for the corner, maul it, bow on over. Misconversion, but 36-24, then it's game over. Because Valentini gets one again. It comes from a Crusaders penalty conceded. The big man powers over 43-24. And then bloody icing on. I thought the other one was a game over, but the game was still going. Corey Toole gets one. He gets the hammer down. It starts from some big forward carries over the advantage line in their own half. Spread the ball wide. Toole. And 50 points on the board for the Brumbies. Bloody hell. Like, you might have picked the Brumbies, but you didn't pick them by 26 points. Surely. The Brumbies, I picked the Crusaders. For sure. Possession finishes 57-43. Territory 63-37. Both to the Brumbies. The line breaks is 7 apiece. But that means the Brumbies had more in the second because the Crusaders had more in the first. Penalty count is 9-5. So just the 2 conceded by the Crusaders in the second, but 5 by the Brumbies. So it was really the wind, you feel like, at play to a degree. Crusaders had to make a heap more tackles, 237 to 176. Individuals, Valentini, so busy, 18 carries. Will Jordan, 3 line breaks, still dangerous. Leicester Fainganuku off the bench, finishes the game with more tackles busted than anyone with 11. Muirhead had 9. Blackadder made 24 tackles. Cale, 73 metres. He's the star of the show for the first couple of weeks for the Brumbies. Goodness me. And my Blues have got the Brumbies next. Away in Canberra, that looks tough for my lads. Like, I might be enjoying seeing the Brumbies play well here down in Christchurch, but I might not be enjoying it next week. Crusaders are away to the Chiefs. That's a tough one with the Chiefs having a good start to their campaign. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game. It was a bit of an upset. I mean, as I said, the Brumbies were still given a chance, but 26 points is pretty emphatic. You guys let us know your thoughts. Take care. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.